Alright, welcome back to Chaos XP. So it's been about 2 to 3 days since Chisa dropped. And let's be honest, this girl has absolutely split the entire Wuthering Waves community. And before we go deeper, tell me I am not crazy when I say she literally looks like the identical twin of Enma from the anime Hellgirl. Black straight hair, red eyes and with school uniform. It's honestly wild how similar they look. But anyway, ever since Chisa came out, the community has broken into 3 loud groups. People who are disappointed and think she's underperforming. People who loves her, especially the ones who waited for her since her dream marketing. And people who are confused, who want Chisa but don't know if she is worth pulling right now or if they should just wait for her rerun. And trust me, I get it. I was personally in the group who waited for her since her reveal almost a year ago. So let's start with the negative side. Because it's real and ignoring it doesn't help anyone. A lot of players feel she is underwhelming. And comments from my own channel backing this up. One person said, I heard R0S1 Chisa is worse than S5R5 Rover. Another viewer mentioned, it's actually hard to utilize Chisa's healing and shield application in tense situations. Shorekeeper is still better as sustain. And yeah, those criticisms are valid. Right now in 2.8, Chisa does not have a perfectly synergized team. Her best performing team is basically Cartethia, Chiacona and Chisha. And even that team performs only slightly above Aero Rover or Shorekeeper teams. Definitely not enough to justify calling her broken. And about the Zani team, a viewer explained this perfectly. Chisa doesn't buff Zani because her ambers don't count as DOTs. So yeah, it's sad but true. At launch, Chisa does not work with Zani, and honestly many players were expecting those synergy, including me. There's another group of players who wants to pull Chisha, but feels like she gives them zero short-term value. So one of the comments said, I hyped her for a year, but she doesn't help my current build. I have to skip her until rerun. And honestly, this mindset makes sense too. If your current teams don't use negative stats, and you already have Shorekeeper or Rover, you don't immediately need Chisha for your account right now. But the story doesn't end there, because there's also a huge group of players who are loving her, including Whales and F2P players. One player told me, I got my Chisa to S6R1 and I am hitting 900k nukes and multiple 20-40k with those chainsaw attacks. And here someone else said, Chisa would be insane later when new characters come out that uses her reaction. And another comment explained it perfectly. Chisa will be a universal unit for a negative stats team. You will be able to use her with many characters and future synergy will be crazy. So this is the thing. Players who build her properly are already seeing huge results. That alone tells us Chisa is a not fundamentally weak character. She is simply not optimized for 2.8 roster. Now here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Chisha is not designed for 2.8. She is designed for 3.x patches. Every single sign points to that. Like the devs just completely reworked negative stats effects in 2.8. Fusion, Glacio, Spectro, Electro, all of their stats interactions were revamped. Kuro have done this many times now, like releasing the support before the DPS they synergize with. And 3.0 leaks already suggest we are getting an era which focuses on negative stats. Think about it, Yanlin launched, Zhang Liao arrived much later. Zheji launched, Carlotta arrived much later. Then Cantarella launched, but her best teams appeared later. Kuro does this every patch cycle. They release the support first, then the DPS launches later and becomes broken with them. Chisa fits this exact pattern. Now let's talk about the future, because this is where things get crazy. Based on the leak patterns and internal changes, 3.x is going to be a negative stats meta era. And if the leaks about upcoming characters are even partially true, characters like Scar or Gesholin will naturally slot perfectly with Chisha. Fusion stats was heavily buffed in 2.8. Chisa's entire kit revolves around heals, shields and negative stats reactions. This means her future synergy curve is massive. One viewer summarized it perfectly. Chisa will be non-replaceable later when new 3.x characters come out that uses her reaction. And honestly, I 100% agree with that. Chisa is not going to replace Shorekeeper. Shorekeeper will always be the queen of sustain. But Chisa's role is completely different. She is a support for negative stats, a hybrid sustain plus shield plus reaction enabler, with future-proof design and perfect synergy for upcoming characters. In other words, she won't beat Shorekeeper. She will exist in her own lane, And in 3.x teams, she will outperform Shorekeeper depending on the team comps. So now the big question, should you pull Chisa? Here's the honest breakdown. If you want a powerful sustain right now in 2.8, skip her. If you already have Shorekeeper or Aero Rover build, skip her. If your current teams don't use negative stats, skip her. But if you love her design, if you want future synergy, if you want to prepare for future characters, or you believe in her 3.x potential, then 100% Chisa is worth pulling and you will not regret having her later. Imagine skipping her now and then 3.1 or 3.2 drops a character who becomes her best partner. Then you are forced to choose between the new DPS and Chisa on rerun. That's the trap most players will fall into. So is Chisa a disappointment? No, absolutely not. She is just early in the game. She is not made for 2.8, but she is absolutely built for what's coming in 3.x. Let me know where you stand. Are you disappointed? Are you loving her? Or are you still stuck in that confused middle zone? Drop your thoughts below. And if you want more deep dive WoW analysis, hit like, subscribe and stay tuned. Chaos XP signing off.